Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bird Brothers Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Falcon, joined as always today by my good friend, Condor. Condor, how are you doing today?
Oh, well, there, Falcon. I'm just doing fantastic. Ready to talk about
Fantastic.
another cat-tastic anime today.
Catastic anime.
That's right. The puns are not with me as usual.
Mm,
Today, me and Falcon have watched My Roommate is a Cat.
yes.
Not a really long, abstruse title like most animes, but it's close, you know?
You mean it couldn't have been like, what do you mean that is my roommate? That's just a little cat over there.
Or it could have been I found a cat by my parents' shrine and now I have adopted it.
I mean, that's probably more like it. What's that one that's super long and super confusing? Like,
Is it wrong to
uh,
pick up girls in a dungeon?
no, there's one, it's about a cell phone. It's like, if we were
I
the
got
only ones alive at the end of the world, would you call me or something like that? And I'm like,
what?
what?
I think you're gonna say in another world with my smartphone because that's an
Maybe that
isekai
one's
where
one.
the guy just like gets isekai into a world and it just has a smartphone. The only thing he got to take with him. And it just like shows all like the girls there. It's just like, oh hey, look at my smartphone, ladies. Isn't it cool?
There was something that was about calling them if the world was ending or something. But yeah, I
I think
remember
I know
like,
what you're talking about.
yeah, I was like, that is the dumbest title ever. But all right.
It's pretty dumb. All right, let's get
Yes.
into this anime. So this anime was 12 episodes long.
Doot,
It
doot, doot.
it is on Crunchyroll subbed and Funimation dubbed, and the manga is still ongoing at the moment. The first volume came out in 2015 of June. So
Yeah.
this series has been around for almost 6 years at this point. There's 6 volumes. The last volume actually came out in 2019, so I have no idea if maybe the author's on break or something.
Maybe. It seemed like they were all spaced out fairly well, though. So maybe one of those they only updated every once in a while.
The
So
first
it's
volume came out
ongoing,
in
but not long.
2015,
Mm-hmm.
and then volumes 4 and 5 both came out in 2018. And
Okay.
everything else was just and then between volumes 5 and 6, I kid you not, it was literally 364 days. It went from December 13th
Mm-hmm.
to December 12th.
Yeah.
Almost a full year. You could have just waited another day there, author.
Yeah.
You could have just waited. But I did look to see if there was any character polls or anything, which I assumed there wasn't going to be for something this small.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't find any.
Sad days. Yeah, I
Bad
mean, there's really
days.
only what, like, if you include every person who has like a name, maybe like 18 characters max.
Yeah, which is fine because it's easy to remember the characters than throwing like all these characters at you that you
Mm-hmm.
don't know.
Right. I mean, way easier than like March comes in like a lion, where you've got all these different shogi players who may only show up once, they may come back twice. Who knows?
Who
Uh,
knows?
a lot of them looked very similar if they were old as well, so that also. But yeah. Anyway,
I mean,
this was
my
good. I
problem
liked
with
it.
that was there was a lot of old people like in the
Yeah.
beginning of season 2, and they all looked the same to me. And I'm like, who's who? Who's what? I
Yeah,
don't
so I was like,
know.
wait, who's that guy? He's not the director, but he's all what? What? And I was like, oh yeah, that
And
guy.
then you end up loving him. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, let's get into the plot of the show. Allow me to read it. this this anime is the story of Mikazuki Subaru, a novelist who is shy and struggles in relationships with other people, and a cat who was dumped by humans and lived a tough life on the streets. Through a twist of fate, the two of them end up living together. This heartwarming tale illustrates day-to-day life through the eyes of both man and cat. These moments seem trivial, but as they build upon themselves, the two become family and find happiness in their life together.
Yep.
And that's the story, the plot, the main focus of the thing. Basically, it's this guy who adopts a cat because he's a novelist and he sees like some inspiration from the cat. The
Mm-hmm.
cat gives him some inspiration. So he
Yeah.
adopts the cat and starts living with him. And as life goes on, they live together. He becomes a more better social person. Maybe a little bit of a social butterfly. Probably not. Maybe eventually.
Yeah. So far, no. Yeah. I mean, pretty much. Yeah. He just can't come up with an idea for his next novel and needs one soon. And he sees the cat and gets the idea for what he's like a cat assassin trying to kill this human or something like that. I think.
And I never really highlight the story that much.
Yeah, I just know he's a cat assassin, but I thought the original premise was the way the cat was kind of following him around. It's like, oh, it's like he wants to kill me. That's a great story idea. Yeah, so he picks up the cat just mainly for inspiration and knows really nothing about cats, which is kind of fun to see him having to, like, he doesn't even name the cat, and he goes to the pet store and it's like, what's the cat's name? It's like, what do you mean? And it's like, you didn't name it? It's like, no, what do you call it? Cat? It's like,
yeah,
you have to name your cat. It's like, all right.
Don't you name your cat? God.
Yeah. I did love that. It's like, what's the name? She didn't say what's its name. It's like, what's the name? And so he gives his name and age. It's like, well, that's ancient. And he's like, what? that was...
I didn't know 23 was so old.
Yeah. It's like, it is for a cat. Like, but yeah. I thought it was funny. Then it's like, you haven't got it a color. What? I need to get it a color? Yes, in case it gets lost. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was fun how just absolutely clueless he was about cats most of the time.
Does this anime does something special where it also gives the point of view from the cat itself, basically voicing the cat's thoughts as he watches the human, as the human watches him. So it's pretty interesting because it'll be like sometimes it's like half and half, sometimes it's mostly Subaru, then it's like a little bit of the cat. As the anime goes on, the cat is named Haru, which is actually funny because Haru to the cat means food. So every time he calls him his name at first, he thinks he's calling him for food, which is pretty funny.
We should explain why. So when Haru was a stray, and there was this little girl at a restaurant who would feed Haru whenever she came around, and the little girl's name was Haru. But every time Haru would feed the cat, he would hear the mom call for Haru, so he would always associate Haru with meaning food, even though it was the little girl. But yeah, so when he names it Haru, every time he says it, the cat comes running thinking there's food somewhere that it can eat. But that was great. I liked it a lot. Shall we
get into the characters? Let's
start
with our main character, Subaru Mikazuki.
Subaru.
One of the best first names I've ever seen.
Oh, is it because it's shared with someone from an RE show?
Oh, that's right. You know, our man is a male 23-year-old human. It says species on the Wikipedia page. That's why. Here's actually a fun fact. Actually, this is actually really interesting. So in the manga, his hair is brown and his eye color is black. But in the anime, his hair color is black and his eye color is blue.
Ooh.
Very interesting. So basically, we got this guy who's a little down in the dumps, and you literally find out in the first scene that his parents died. Like, they're dead. They went on a trip, and I guess they died on a car accident, I think they said.
Yeah, it was like they were on a bus, and the bus had a crash or something.
And both of his parents died. And I just want to take this moment to say this character, Subaru, probably had some of the best anime parents I have ever seen in an anime.
Easily
the best. They loved him no matter what. It was great. There was a little scene where they were sitting together and Subaru was working on his book, and his mom's like, oh, I figured out the secret to your book. And he's like, you read my story? And she's like, oh no, I just took a little peek. I'm sorry. And then the dad starts talking about the book too. He's like, you also read my story? And then they just start talking about it and saying how proud they are of Subaru for writing something so good.
You also find out too, the parents love traveling. They just love going to new places. But Subaru hates being around people. He's that like very timid, shy kid who just wants to be left alone. So he never goes with them. But you find out like later on that even though he would always say no, they would always book rooms for 3 people just in case at the last minute he decided to come with them. Which I found super wholesome. Like, oh, maybe we'll win him over. Let's see. But yeah,
that doesn't break your heart, then you're a cruel person.
Yeah, I was like, oh, dang. Like, his parents were great. And you even find out, too, that his mom loves gardening. And she has this garden, and you find out the only plants she had were plants she'd pick up that were local specialties from every place they traveled. So she asked the name of what the plant is and where they picked it up, which was super. I really like that. As someone who used to garden some as a kid, that was just fun. Being like, oh, that's where you got that. That's neat.
His favorite color is blue. That's pretty cool. But yeah, basically he's a shy guy who basically does not like social interaction. Like in one of the first episodes, you literally see him like having a panic attack when he's meeting his editor, like in like a little cafe. He's literally about to break down. So
yeah, he doesn't like being around all the people and all the noise. Yeah, it very much, the story is very much about him kind of overcoming that to an extent.
with the
Uh,
help of a little furry critter.
yeah, so you find out he's a very popular author, but if he's not meshing with an editor, if the editor does something he doesn't like, he jumps to a different editor or a different company. So this is like his first meeting with his new editor, who's Kawase. And he just flat out tells Kawase not to take him places like there again, and he gets up and kind of leaves. Um, but yeah, he doesn't like that at all. Even his best friend, he doesn't like when his best friend kind of comes over to the house because his best friend's really loud. So he's like,
He
just go
eats all the
home and
fish
leave me alone.
sausage.
I mean, yeah, I mean, Subaru is pretty much a NEET if he didn't have a job, but he has a job, so therefore he I guess technically is not a NEET.
Subaru also has tendencies to hyper focus on his work, which means he does not eat or drink anything, which means he ends up being starving and sometimes collapsing from exhaustion, as shown multiple times in the show.
Yeah.
Not good, Subaru. You gotta take care of yourself, man. How you gonna get all the work?
Yeah, I think in one scene he realized like he hadn't eaten or slept for like 3 days or something because he was just writing nonstop, and then he just passes out. It's like, come on, man, you gotta take care of yourself better than that. You're an adult at 23. Come on, bro.
But as the show progresses, he becomes a more wholesome human being. We'll get into that during our favorite moments later. I guess that's a good explanation about our character Subaru, unless you have anything else you'd like to say about him.
No, not really. That's pretty much it. Very quiet, doesn't like people, doesn't like crowds, doesn't always really take care of himself. But that should lead us on to the next character, which of course would be the roommate, aka the cat, aka Haru.
Haru Mikazuki, which is technically Subaru's last name because he adopted her.
Yeah, right.
She is a tuxedo cat, which is what the anime says. Haru is a cat that has black fur with a white triangle over her eyes and mouth. She wears a 13 to 19 centimeter red meow collar with a red ribbon attached because she's so cute. Yeah. She used to have a bell on the collar, but Subaru basically took it off because it was annoying.
That was one of my favorite parts. As somebody who doesn't like noise, he buys the collar with the bell. And then like immediately you realize Haru's like, what's that noise? What's that jingling noise? And starts like just hitting at it to see how it works. And he just immediately like takes it off and is like, nope. Like, why did you buy it?
Haru is a female cat, only 6 months old. Can you believe it?
Very young kitty cat.
Very young cat. Basically, Haru gets adopted by the main character and starts living in there after being a stray on the streets. And as she starts living with Subaru, she realizes this guy doesn't know how to take care of himself. So she ends up sometimes just sharing her food with him by like pushing her bowl near him. But then she just realizes, oh, I'm hungry, and just starts eating it.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. Sometimes she'll be like, oh, I'm going to get him food. So she knows where the food is kept. And there's a scene where she's like trying to open it and it's like a can of tuna. And she's like, oh my God, that's the good stuff. I want it. It must be mine.
Yeah. That was great. And then she knocks it off and it rolls like into a crack she can't reach. And she's all like upset about it. But yeah.
So in a sense, the anime kind of starts out with the main character taking care of the cat and the cat trying to take care of the main character in a sense, because they're both just trying to rely on each other. But as the anime goes on, it gets more wholesome. Oh, it's just so sweet.
Yeah, and he doesn't realize Haru's trying to give him food. Like the first time she does it, she just grabs some of the food in her mouth and drops it outside his door. And when he opens the door and sees it, he just sweeps it up and throws it away. And Haru, since Haru's been a stray, like is upset that he's literally just wasting her food. But then it turns into like, here's my whole food bowl, and here's this and that. And he has to finally, I think he like Googles like, why did your cat bring you things or whatever? And it's like, it realizes you're not taking care of yourself and wants to help. So that's when he realizes the cat's worried about him, just due to the fact he wasn't eating or whatever. But yeah, I really like the relationship because it very much is he's taking care of her, but she in turn realizes he needs help taking care of himself. And even though they can't communicate, she tries as hard as she can, usually failing at it, but trying her best to make sure he stays A-okay. Even so much as at one part, very
wholesome relationship.
Yeah, she doesn't even eat at one part until she knows he's eating, because she doesn't want to eat until she realizes that he has food as well and is going to eat it. which is great. You think that was when he cooked the meal for her, right? And
Yes.
he looked and didn't see her eat and was afraid he messed up, and then he starts eating it, and then looks over and she starts eating after he's been eating it. So I thought that was a nice little moment. They slowly just kind of become a family as opposed to, oh, that's just some cat I picked up because I got inspired by it. But yeah, anything else we need? I guess we could mention that Haru has like 4 brothers and sisters.
That is true. One of them is Hachi, a younger brother, and then there's some other unnamed siblings.
One of them dead, unfortunately.
One of them dead.
We don't know what happened to the last one, which I assume probably you find out in the manga. But yeah, they got separated, and that's when Haru found Subaru, and Subaru takes her home. Anything else we need to talk about with Haru?
She is a really cute cat. I like it. Moving on. Let's go. Who's the next character?
Hiroto is who I wrote down next.
Hiroto. You want to talk about the friend?
Thing. Hiroto is Subaru's. Yeah, he's Subaru's best friend. They've been friends since they were kids. He lives just a couple of houses down with his family. He also has like 3 or 4 siblings. 3.
Yes, just as many as
4.
Haru.
He has 4. Yeah,
he has 4. He has 4.
I forgot about the youngest
parents.
one.
There's Nagisa, Hayato, Narumi, and Misora. They're all right here.
I don't know if it ever tells us what his actual job is, but he wears a suit, so I assume he's probably just like a salary man kind of guy. Or he's maybe still even in college. But yeah, he's Subaru's best friend. He's very outgoing, very extroverted. But he knows that Subaru doesn't tend to take care of himself, so he always makes it a point to stop by to check on him, even though Subaru gets very aggravated with that. Yeah, he's constantly like, hey, I brought food from my parents' house. And the first time we see him, he shows up, and we just got back from like a trip, and he doesn't have any food at home. So he goes kind of to see how Subaru is doing, but also to complain that he has no food but fish sausages, which he still proceeds to then eat. But, he's there. He's trying to.
I guess it's his favorite.
Yeah, maybe. He's trying to. I feel like he's trying to encourage Subaru to like get out and do more. So I think he feels the more he comes over and the more he annoys him, the more likely he will be to get him out and about.
And it's unfortunately it does not work. It only takes a simple cat to do that.
Yeah, he doesn't even knock to come in because he knows if he knocks, Subaru will just ignore him. So he just walks in the back door and or the side door, I guess, and just helps himself.
He just comes on in and be like, "Hey, I'm bringing you food, but I'm taking my fish sausage. All right, good deal."
Even that day he brought over his siblings. He's just like, "Yeah, I told them about Haru and they wanted to see the cat, so here we are." And they just like walk in and help themselves. Much to Haru's displeasure. Haru, we should have mentioned, doesn't really trust many humans.
He does not like Hiroto. He's like, he kind of smallly doubts Hiroto, doesn't really like him that much.
Haru, she kind of comes around to Hiroto, but at the start she doesn't like him because he's noisy. She's like, who is this noisy guy and why is he here? But she eventually comes around like, oh, he's okay. Like, she doesn't like him, but I think that's the last time we hear, like, oh, he's okay. Yeah, she'll tolerate him. Unlike poor Kawase, who we'll talk about
tolerable soon. Human. He do be tolerable.
Yeah, Hiroto likes Haru, but doesn't really bother Haru, and I feel like that's why Haru kind of like comes around. Haru doesn't like that he's loud, but he kind of gives Haru her space, so Haru's like, all right, we're cool.
Hiroto is a 23-year-old man, just the same age as Subaru. Yep. He is the gender of male, and his species is, in fact, human.
Oh,
his hair color and eye color is brown and green. Hair color is brown and eye color is green. Sorry.
What, you mean his hair's not green and his eye color is not brown?
I mean, maybe if it was a different anime.
Oof. Indeed.
Unfortunately, that is not the case in this one. He's more of like a handsome guy, But
yeah, he's kind of the lady, pretty boy kind of guy.
The anime doesn't really focus on that much, which is cool. No. I appreciate that. It focuses more on the relationship between Subaru and his growth as a character, and Haru, the cat who needs to find love, and she does, and it's wholesome. Very wholesome indeed. But I would say Hiroto's a pretty good friend to Subaru, going to remember things at first. Like he's like, oh, I don't. When they were kids, because they met when they were kids, he's like, oh, I don't know, he's a nerd, and then he just like comes around to Subaru.
Yeah, well, they have that scene where Hiroto's trying to talk to him and he's just reading this book, and you're like, that kid's always reading a book. I don't know that I could be friends with him. And then you see Subaru trip and fall in the like little creek or whatever.
Here, take my book.
Yeah, and he's like, here, take my book. And like, I forget what he actually says, but that's when you realize like he's not really a bad guy. He's just very different and super into reading. But even like one of the first times they meet, it's just like, oh, hopefully they'll be friends, and Subaru does not care. But then he eventually comes over that one day that his mom's like gone from home or something, and they end up bonding over like how many books he has and what he wants to be when he grows up and all that sort of thing. So they kind of slowly became friends as kids, and they're best friends, even if Subaru won't admit it. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else we want to mention?
I'm sure Subaru is really happy to have a friend like Hiroto under his belt.
Indeed.
I guess we can move on to the next character in the show, and that would be Falcon. Take it away.
That would be Atsushi Kawase. This is Subaru's editor that he picks up at the start of the series after just swapping over. He is 27. His species is male.
His species is male? What?
Species is... His species is human, and he is a male human. And his hair and eye color are both brown.
Whoa!
So, fairly generic there. And otherwise, he really likes...
has a wife.
He does have a wife, and she is allergic to cats.
And that is the reason why going a little ahead of ourselves, he is a giant cat lover. He loves cats so much. In fact, when he finds out that Subaru has adopted a cat, he's like, I'm coming over here every freaking time so I can see Haru. And Haru absolutely hates Kawase.
Yeah, she hates him. So yeah, he tries to get Subaru out and about, but quickly realizes Subaru doesn't like it. So after the first time meeting Subaru at his house, and he sees that Subaru has Haru, he realizes that since Subaru never wants to leave, he's just going to come over there for all of his meetings, and that kind of kills two birds with one stone. He gets to see Haru, and then he also can get their work done. But yeah, Haru does not like Kawase, and I think it's because Kawase just wants to play with Haru the whole time. And I feel like Haru is very much that cat that like will come around to you every once in a while, but mainly just kind of wants to be left alone, which is why she and Subaru mesh so well, to where Kawase is that guy who wants the cat that just is like always coming up around you and laying on you and playing with you. So I think Kawase very much just gets super annoyed by how much Kawase wants to play with her, and because of that, just doesn't want to tolerate him. Yeah, poor guy. Otherwise, he's really great. He genuinely cares about Subaru and trying to help Subaru out with a lot of his anxiety and issues with people and whatnot. But also realizes he's a very different person and kind of has to take it slow, like suggesting, even though, yes, Haru was at the house being like, cool, if you don't like going out in public, I'll just come here. You don't have to leave, but we can still get our work done. It'll be great. And Subaru even isn't super happy with that because somebody is coming over to his house. But he's tried calling Subaru numerous times where Subaru just ignores the phone. So it's very beneficial for him just to be able to walk over and come in. But yeah, anything else we really need to mention about Kawase? He doesn't have a whole lot about him.
Neither did Hirose on the wiki. The wiki is pretty barren, to be honest with you, which is understandable because it's not that big of an anime. But we did mention earlier, but the reason why he is in love with Haru is because his wife is allergic to cats. So personally, I think he can see himself as Subaru being, oh, Haru's kind of my cat. I love her so much. He even goes to get like a little thing on his cell phone and like a picture of Haru like at his work desk at like the editor's office. Yeah, which is really cool. I mean, it's really weird, but it's also kind of funny. And it just shows that I feel like Kawase is a really kind person and like loves to get involved in his like in Subaru's like work style, his life. Just try to get him to be a better person, and it works. Which has to do with my favorite scenes we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I mean, he even says that like he's a huge cat guy, but he just can't have one because of his wife. So I feel like he's very much that person. If he had a different wife or wasn't married, he would have like 2 or 3 cats probably. But yeah, he's just a genuinely good guy. I really liked Kawase. Just he doesn't really do much besides be the editor and try to slowly kind of talk him into getting out of his comfort zone and trying to improve himself or to have Subaru improve himself some. But that should lead us to the last character really that we need to talk about,
Yes, that
which
would
is
be
Nana
our
Okami.
female human, not species female, but human species. She is 21 years old. Her hair color is pink and her eye color is brown. A lot of people with brown eyes in this show.
Brown eye. Well, I mean, brown eye is probably the most common eye color, I feel.
Yeah. So anyway, this lovely lady here works at the local pet store near Subaru. He actually goes there the first time when he used to buy some cat food when he couldn't buy it online, and get some help from her. Pretty funny scene with that. We talked about it earlier where she's asking him the cat's name, and at this point, Subaru has not named my Subaru. How old is your cat? 23. Wow, that's an old cat. When did 23 become so old? But she is they don't really talk about it. She is quite a beautiful young lady, I will say. Very cool. Keeps her hair in a ponytail. Very helpful. Very, very smart with pet advice, I will definitely say. If you have any advice for cats or probably anything in general, because I know the anime only focuses on cats, but I'm sure if it's like dogs or anything that the anime will, I'm sorry, not the anime, this lady will definitely help you with any questions, going as far as helping Subaru make up a diet plan for Haru.
Indeed.
Which is amazing.
Because Haru was a little pudgy.
What do you think about Nana?
I really like Nana. I really just wish we got a little more of her in the show. I mean, I think I was thinking back to how many episodes she was in, and she was in roughly half of them, but for most of them, she's just there for a minute or two, and then we don't really see her again. So I really wish we kind of had more to deal with her, besides the one where Subaru has to take her house key to her because she left it at his house. And really the last episode, we really didn't see too much besides just, I need cat food. Where's cat food?
You forgot
Which cat
the
food
book
should I buy? Yeah. Oh, yeah. The book signing. But even there, she's not there the whole time. She just shows up at the very last little bit.
But
so I feel like
wholesome.
Yeah, but I may totally ship Nana and Subaru. It needs to happen. But
I feel like
she's great.
I don't really ship anybody, but I'm sure most fans really ship these two, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really have like a lot of interaction or whatnot, but just I think they would work out well if they got to know each other better. So
let's take this moment to just say this anime isn't a romance anime. It's basically,
it is not.
It's
it is purely
a slice of life anime. Purely. That's about it. There's no fun facts about her on the thingy of wiki.
Well, there is the fun fact that she found one of Haru's siblings and is taking care of Haru's younger brother.
Correct. She's taking care of a cat named I think it's Roku.
Roku was the one she already had, I believe.
Hachi! Thank you.
And then Hachi, was the sibling of Haru.
That's right. Nana also has a brother named Yugo who only appears in like 2 episodes, really.
Yeah.
It's not really that much, but it's actually funny. His Wikipedia page has more information than all the last 3 characters because it says his relationships. I don't know why the other ones don't do that. That's weird.
Maybe whoever was doing this just started with his, so thinking it would take the least amount of time and then just never got around to the others.
Nana and Yugo really like the story about the cat assassin and don't realize that Subaru is the one who made it.
Yeah, they ask him if he's read it. He kind of freaks out because he's never interacted with fans in that way, really. So he doesn't know what to do, and he's kind of embarrassed. So he literally just like runs out of their apartment, which then leads to the book signing where Nana finds out he is, in fact, the author of the book series they were talking about. And she's embarrassed, thinking they offended him by talking about it that way in front of him. And he's just like, no, I just didn't know what to do. So I just left.
But yeah, I guess that's really all the characters. I guess we can mention the dog who also gets a voice. I actually really like his sub voice. It was actually really nice and pleasant to listen to. And it's always nice to see the scenes. It's always nice to see the scenes where people pet him and he's like, "Oh, I love pats. I love it. Give me more love." It's so wholesome. I love it.
Yeah, and I love how he even too is just always trying to help out Haru whenever Haru really.
Let's play. I want to play.
yeah, hey, you should come outside. Let's play. I don't want to. Oh, but it'll be so much fun. Let's go. Or even when they're at the vet and Haru's talking about, oh, I don't like this place. This person was grabbing me and doing this and that. And he's like, oh, I love this
They
place.
all give me cuddles and hugs.
Yeah, they all give me cuddles and hugs. And it's like, oh, but they kept, sticking me and poking. And he's like, well, yeah, but one time I had a really hurt paw. I couldn't move it very well. And I came here and they made it all better. So I love this place. Like it very much, he's always trying to help Haru with, advice, since he's the older kind of, uh,
Dog.
and yeah, he's this, older dog guy who technically should be wiser, but he's still a dog. So whatever, like someone comes and said, "Are you gonna pet me? Do you want to play with me? Let's go."
His name is Taro.
Yeah, I was like, I forgot his name, but I liked the dog a lot too. He was fun. I even like the dog's owner a lot. She only shows up really that once.
Sonoko
I think.
Tanabe.
Oh, we see her once earlier, and she's just like, she sees that Subaru has people over. It's like, oh, he has people over. That's new. But then we only really have any interaction between them once at the very end.
But it still shows, but by still adding that small little scene, it adds depth to the progression of Subaru's character. Yeah. There's even a part. Actually, I'll mention it during our favorite part. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Falcon, I must ask you.
Yes.
Before we get into the music, who's your favorite character in this anime? I think that's kind of tough to say. I feel like none of the characters really shined, but they're all just good normally. They're all
really good work normally. Really well together. I think. I think Subaru is one of the most relatable protagonists of a show that I've watched, especially in a long time. I feel like I used to write a lot in high school, and I considered getting a writing degree in college, but I'd changed my mind. I feel like if I'd gone that route, I would very much be super similar. If I don't leave my house, I just kind of write and ignore people. But that's not the case, and I have to leave every now and then. Keeps me from doing that. But I feel like he's very relatable. But in terms of just favorite character, I'm gonna say probably Kawase. I really liked Kawase a lot. What about you?
Character. This is a tough one. I honestly don't know. I will agree. Saying Super is a very relatable character with his problems and his social anxiety. I'm pretty awkward too with people. Most of the time when I'm at work, I usually have to fake being kind because I honestly don't really know how to make a conversation with people, considering my interests are not really the interests of most people in my city.
Right.
But so I can relate with Subaru on a scale. But my favorite character, I can't choose. I'm not saying that because they're all great. They're all just good, and that's just it. They're all just really good. I like the whole cast. I feel like they, as you mentioned, they mesh well really together.
Right.
I mean, if you really want, I guess I could choose Nana because girl
gets a plus for that.
Pretty girl.
Yeah.
All right, that is all of the main characters in the cast that we have talked about today.
Oh,
we can move on to the music. The opening for My Roommate is a Cat, the anime, is Unknown World by Schrodinger's Cat.
And Kotringo.
I have no idea who these people are, but by the fact they got Schrodinger's Cat to do the opening is amazing.
I feel like I've heard of Schrodinger's Cat from another opening. I'm going to Google that really quick.
I feel like I have too while you're doing that. The opening, Unknown World, is indeed a jam. If you listen to it, it might take a few times to listen to it, but you will indeed be moving your head along like Falcon here did episode 2 of the anime. I just really liked it. It's really perky. It's really good. The opening visuals are really great, showing basically Subaru and Haru together. Really cool. It's kind of like in the first opening scene. It's kind of a good I forget the foreshadowing of the events of the anime, where basically it shows Subaru in his world alone with books, right? All alone, just reading, and he's happy. And then it all comes crumbling down when Haru just falls from the sky and lands on his lap, showing this cat's going to show you how to be more social, get you out of your little funk. I feel like that's a good, that's a good foreshadowing, if I'm using the correct term. But the opening is great, right, Falcon?
It is. I really like it. The first time I was like, it's fine. But yeah, then I caught myself just bopping along with it the second time, and I was like, all right, no, it's pretty good. I appreciate it. I'm not finding anything on Schrodinger's Cat except for this song.
Maybe you're just thinking of something else.
Maybe not. I'm probably am. But I was like, I could have swore like there's been another anime, but I even typed in like music group band. I'm not finding anything other than like normal Schrodinger's cat stuff or this song. So I guess
All
not.
right, let's move on to the ending theme, which is Kimi no Tonari Watashi no Basho, which
Oh,
for that. I don't know if I don't think there's an English name for that.
probably not.
Unfortunately, maybe if I take the Romanji and I translate it into Google.
Yeah,
But basically, it wasn't the best, but it was nice. It was calm. It fit the theme of the show.
it worked. That's all I really have to say about it. It was fine. I enjoyed listening to it, but I skipped it probably after the third episode.
Well, sometimes there was like after credit scenes. Did you watch those?
I did not. I did not know that. I think I saw one of them, like towards the end, but I didn't know that there was them for every scene. So yeah, I probably missed a few of those.
The English title of this song is "Next to You, My Place."
Okay.
That is really nice. Oh, and the cover photo on the page is just a girl with her cat. That's sweet. Probably singer with a cat. That's
Probably.
Is
The singer's name is Yoshino Nanjo, so that's probably her with the cat.
That is true. But yeah, it was pretty good. It fit the theme. Don't be a falcon. Don't watch all the way to the end. Thank you very much. That I guess the general music of the show was also nice. Wasn't memorable, but it was fitting for the theme.
Right.
Of basically a lot of it's like, oh, I miss my parents, but then I realize I have the love of a cat with me, and the love of somebody else's warmth with me really fuels me to be a better person. And then the music, I think there's a lot of good piano songs in this one, I'll say.
Yeah, they did have a lot of piano that was pretty good.
What about you, Falcon? What did you think of the music in this anime?
I liked it. The opening was really catchy. I really liked it. I'll probably have it on like an anime opening playlist.
A big agree.
Otherwise, the rest of the music, he was fine. Nothing really stuck out, I guess I should say, as being like super memorable besides the opening.
The opening didn't have to go so hard, but it did.
Yeah. I mean, especially for this, show that's just about a guy and his cat. Like, but otherwise, I'd say average. I don't really have much to say on the music itself. But opening
music is okay. Opening. Bird Brothers approval.
Bird Brothers approved.
2 thumbs up. I guess that brings us to our weeb question.
And I am in the blind on this. I don't know what this is. So what is our weeb question?
So obviously thinking of a question for an anime about a guy living with a cat is probably something that's really difficult. So I decided to think a little outside the box today. It's not much of a weeb question, but it's more of just a general question. Mr. Falcon, do you feel that this anime portrayed a cat really well? Do you feel more like the anime with like, even though, because usually you show the thoughts of a cat, do you feel like with that included, do you feel like it portrayed what a cat actually is in real life? Because anime is usually more like, sometimes it's more like mythical or like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like more, it's more like fiction. Sometimes some things aren't real. Like they'll have like a lot of realism in it, and then they'll have some like sort of fiction element in it that makes it kind of weird. This anime's the fiction element is the cat. You get to hear the cat's thoughts. But do you feel like the anime portrayed a cat really well? Do you feel like if a cat were to talk, it would think like this, possibly? Or do you feel like it did a pretty poor job at it and it was just anime based?
No, I think they did it fairly well. I mean, we never, at the end of the day, will fully know exactly how cats think. But I feel like if you have been around cats fairly often, I feel like this is very much probably exactly how they think. Or even if you like read scientific stuff about it, like even just the cat getting scared by like random noises that happen or whatnot. Even like we said, when Haru's trying to make sure Subaru's eating and just kind of bringing the food over, like cats actually do that. They think we can't take care of ourselves even if you normally can. So I mean that's why even they'd bring you like dead birds and stuff that they killed. It's like, hey, I killed this. You can eat it now. Like take care of yourself. I feel like they did a fairly good job with it. What about you? Do you think they did a good job?
I think it was in the little scenes they showed, not like the big ones when Haru was talking, but it was like the little ones, like her playing with the bell.
Yeah.
The scene where he went to the book signing, and she like ripped up the whole room because she was like upset and angry, mostly probably showing that she was scared and didn't know what was happening where Subaru was. It was in the little scenes like that that I really defined the Haru's behavior as a cat being more cat-like to an actual cat.
Mhm.
Obviously, this is an anime, so cats don't actually speak. Maybe they do think in English. I don't freaking know. I mean, but most likely not.
Yeah.
But it showed in the little scenes like that. The one where she's pawing at the food in like the little corner because it gets like away.
Yeah.
You know, being the hissing, the jumping, all of that. Really, I think it showed it really well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I
All
truly
right.
believe that was probably. Do you think that was a good question there, Falcon?
I think that was a good one. I mean, really, it's really hard to come up with like a weak moment for this one, because there's not really much to it. It's very simple.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to
I-
own a cat? Would you be a cat? So that's why I thought a little
yeah.
outside the box. But like, you feel like this anime portrayed a cat really well. And if people are watching this or listening, what do you think? Do you
Yeah. Hit
think
us up
that
on
this
Twitter.
cat? Do it. Tell us on Twitter right now.
Yeah.
Hashtag sellout.
We don't get paid for any of this stuff. We're not sellouts.
I've been watching this guy open Pokemon cards, and he's such a sellout sometimes, but he's actually also really wholesome.
That's good.
It's cool. His name's Leonhard. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Oh, I've heard of him. I watch him some. He gets a little too lively for my taste sometimes,
I
but
like him.
overall, I like the dude. I think he's a good dude.
He does voices on One Piece. Apparently,
Does he?
He did. It's on his page.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He did some voices in One Piece. Pretty cool.
Nice.
He's actually also opening up a little pop store with old Pokemon packs to give back at like regular retail price. Like you
Oh,
can get
nice.
like one of the first bases for like $4.99. That's pretty cool.
He was the guy too. He used to be like a lawyer or something, right? And then he just like left his law career to open Pokemon cards on YouTube.
I only got into him like a week ago.
Yeah. So if you look, he has an old video on his YouTube page, and he's being interviewed by like a local news channel, and I'm pretty sure he was actually like this fairly well known lawyer, and he's like, I want to open Pokemon cards.
Shout out to Leonhard.
Yeah.
If you like to see someone open up some Pokemon cards and be a generally wholesome guy, go watch him on YouTube. He's at 1 million subscribers. He deserves it.
But anyway,
bit of a sellout, but you got to do that to survive on YouTube, honestly.
You really do. Anyway, back to the actual topic of cats and anime as opposed to.
But you're saying Pokemon cards aren't the topic?
Hey, I like Pokemon cards, but that's not what we're talking about today.
But look at my holographic Turtwig.
Oh, look at
I
that
got
cute
from
little
McDonald's.
You're one of those people stealing cards away.
No, listen right here. Listen right here.
I'm just messing with you.
My friend bought this and gave me the cards.
Oh, okay.
It's my friend who's killing children's hopes and dreams. Not me, I swear. All right, Falcon, what is next in our topic?
We're talking about our favorite moments. And we've hinted about it time and time again, but we're going to talk about the book signing because it is one of the best moments of the whole show.
All right, let's let me give you some background on this.
Listen. Yes.
All right, so basically, as we mentioned, Subaru, the main character, does not really feel welcome, doesn't like to go out to social events. So you're probably wondering, he would do a book signing? No freaking way. Not with how you've described him. But basically, and this is actually also one of my favorite scenes, and I think they showed it before. It's either before or after, but I'll mention it now. Subaru comes to realize that, oh, hey, my house has been so much more lively recently, and he thinks it really feels nice that it's so lively instead of so barren and dead, that he considers giving the book signing a chance, right? He considers basically, hey, maybe doing the book signing wouldn't be so bad after all. And it's really nice to see Subaru realizing like the warmth of other human beings like coming and caring about him, because there's a scene where he also gets sick, and Hiroto and his editor, why do I forget the names?
Kawase.
Not even that hard. Hiroto and Kawase basically come and like give him a helping hand. It's actually pretty cute, pretty fun. And he realizes, oh, hey, it's really nice to have everybody just like warm and helpful. So he's like, I'll give the book signing a chance. So then it's like, I think it's either episode 9 or episode 10 where he does the book signing. Basically, he's really scared at first. He doesn't know what to do, because it's basically like, oh, hey, this is my first time doing something like this. I'm really nervous in front of people. I don't know what people are going to say. And then the first person comes up and he's like, can you please sign this? And he signs it really like nervously. He's like, oh God, I did a little curve. I don't know that they're going to hate me. But the person's like, oh my God,
wrote his name
so
like
awesome.
curved
Thank
instead
you
of straight.
So much.
Yeah.
Falcon, you're muted. Hello?
Hello.
There you go. I hear you now. Sorry.
All right, that's weird. But
Maybe
yeah,
I was muted. I have no idea. I was just talking this whole
maybe
time. You look like you were nodding in silence, and I saw your mouth moving. My apologies. Little
you're
error,
good.
guys. It
You're
happens.
good. You
But
did have a little
basically,
audio blip for a second, so maybe it was just due to that. But yeah.
But
Anyway,
basically,
yeah.
the person who he like signed the book wrong. He's like he still thanks him no matter what because the person's like, oh my god, this is one of my favorite authors. He signed my book. It's so crazy, basically
Mhm.
fangasm moment.
Yeah.
And as the people come and go and give him compliments and say thank you for your hard work, I'm really happy to. I'll always support you. He becomes more happier. He realizes that people are more kinder. And then there's a little kid who basically says, "Can you please sign it?" And he kind of sees himself in the kid. It's
Hmm.
basically this is what it means to like put your hand out and be
Be
more
brave.
be brave and be confident. So he honestly gets up and shakes the kid's hand. He's like, "Thank you so much for supporting me. I appreciate it." He makes the kid's day. If I was
Yeah.
that kid and that's happened with my favorite person, I'd probably have a heart attack right there and then.
Yeah, 'cause, I
Right
mean,
there and then.
the kid even looked really nervous. Like you could tell the kid wasn't really sure what to do or how to do it or if he was doing anything right. So like he realizes this kid is just crazy nervous and crazy shy, but making an effort to put himself out there to meet one of his favorite authors. So he really takes that to heart and kind of uses that as a inspiration to continue growing himself and not just chickening out like he always does.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially.
And like as the book strain goes on, he kind of feels bad for the first few people because he felt like he didn't give in their all, thank them properly for
Mm-hmm.
supporting him and stuff. And then at the last moment, we see Nana come, and that's when Nana realizes that Subaru is the author of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And Subaru, with his newfound courage and determination, thanks her for all the continued work and stuff. They chat a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks her really well one last time before she leaves, and then he turns to Kawase. Is like, "Thank you so much for setting this up," and I think Kawase tears up a little bit
He
because
does. I mean,
it's
you
like
can
really
see when he's just
wholesome.
talking to Nana, it kind of zooms over to Kawase at one point, and he just kind of has this like big smile on his face, like he's glad Subaru is finally being able to be a little more outgoing and social as opposed to just being his normal, quiet, leave me alone persona.
And then he like really thanks Kawase. Thank you so much for setting this up. It really helped out. And then
Yeah,
Kawase starts tearing up a little, and it's really wholesome.
yeah,
And that's why the book signing is my favorite scene in the anime. Thank you. No other scene is better. No further questions.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there were tons of great scenes, but the thing I really liked about what they did overall, and I'll consider a favorite moment, is Subaru grows really, really slowly. But if you think back to what happens in every episode pretty much has some sign of him growing out of that little, out of his personality and kind of growing into a little bit better, more social kind of person. To where by that point, that's where you finally realize like he's sitting here at a table interacting with total strangers that he's never met and probably will never meet again. And he's finally being able to function without just being terrified. Like you see the scene where he's at the grocery store. He grew because he actually went to a grocery store, not a convenience store that he could just get in and get out of quickly.
I mean, he
Um,
still panicked there, but he still did it.
yeah, and then even see like with the people like, hey, do you want this? Do you want to try this? He doesn't want to turn them down because he feels like he can't. So he's got all this stuff he doesn't need and he's not going to eat. So luckily, he runs into Hiroto and Hiroto's like, oh, he won't eat all this. He lives by himself. We're so sorry, and like hands it back or whatnot. But he was able to show he went out to a place he normally never would have even considered going because he wanted to make food for Haru and needed to go buy the ingredients he couldn't buy at a convenience store. Um, but yeah, there were times I feel like that's what this show did very, very well was they showed his growth extremely well, but in an extremely realistic way. It wasn't like, hey, this place is more lively. I should stop, just staying inside all the time. Now I'm at a theme park. Hooray! It's he takes these small little baby steps. By the end of it, you've had this nice journey of growth for Subaru.
The very nice anime, very very true. I do agree with that.
Yeah.
The growth is definitely one of the highlight points, and even though Subaru grows, so does Haru as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice. It shows both of the characters, the protagonist and the dutagonist. I actually looked up the word. It said it on the
Yeah.
wiki. Basically growing, helping each other grow. Subaru needing
Yeah.
it the most and getting the best out of it. Another good scene. I guess we could talk about it. I mean, there's not really much spoilery stuff, but because nothing like major happens. Literally just a slice of life. Basically, he goes on a trip. He goes on to the place his parents were going to go to before they died, and when he's gonna come back, there's a storm, and he calls Hiroto. It's like, Hiroto, can you take care of Haru? So he goes there looking for Haru. Haru's like, oh God, maybe he got hungry and he passed out, and that's why he's not home yet. So Haru runs out into the storm, and when Hiroto calls Subaru to tell him that he obviously he's upset. But what really got me is everybody coming together to help him find Haru, which is really sweet. It shows the progress of, hey, you know what? These guys are my friends and they help me through thick and thin. I hope they don't really show much of it afterwards, but I hope that Subaru really understands that these characters, Nana, her brother, Kawase, and Hiroto, they didn't have to help him at all, but they did because they respect him. They care about him. And that's wholesome to me. That's really great. That shows it's like a family. Right. It's like a nice family, you know?
Well, even how they decided who was going to do what, because that was the deal, was it was storming so bad. He didn't realize it was storming worse at home. And he
at first, Hiroto stayed at home, but then Kawase came by, and it's like, all right, Kawase's going to stay at the house, Hiroto. You know the area better. You go search. They somehow get Nana to help out as well. Then they all go looking, and they eventually do find her, obviously. It was
I mean, that was it. Even Kawase's like, I'll stay here at home. Hiroto knows the area better, but also Haru doesn't like me. So even if, like, Haru saw Kawase, Haru would probably just run away. So Kawase stayed at home in case Haru came home. He could open up the door and let her in. And then everyone else, he ends up meeting Nana when she's closing up the cat shop for the day and asks if she's
that's how.
He asked if she saw Haru or asked where cats might go, and she immediately calls her brother and's like, we'll help out too. We'll take over here. And he goes over there, and they all just work together to find Haru. Yeah, it showed he really had built up these great friendships with these people. And I think he realized that because of how he thanks them in the end. I think
he does thank them at the
end. He's like, he kind of realizes, like, this is nice. These people genuinely care about me and I care about them, you know, so I really liked it. I thought it overall was just extraordinarily well done.
Definitely. It's the small things in life that really matter. Any other good moments you want to mention there, Mr. Falcon?
I think those are the two, like, my favorite. Those are my few just really favorite moments. I feel like the show is one of those shows that's very good overall, but there's not really many standout moments except for what we've already talked about. Otherwise, it's just kind of, I'm writing this book, I'm picking a cover. Oh, friends came over. Oh no, I didn't want them over here. Well, hopefully this goes well.
Haha, big funny.
Yeah. But yeah, otherwise, I think that's pretty much it. So I guess, do we want to go on and get into our recommendations?
Actually, I want to mention one more thing before we get to the recommendations. It's just that in the later episodes, when Subaru is more grown as a character, you know, and he shows, like, there's a scene where he's watering the flowers, and the neighbor's like, "Oh, I already watered those because, you know, your mom always did it, but you never did it. But it's cool to see you doing it, and you know, it's happy to see Subaru doing that." And he does it at the end of the last episode too. I assume from then on he probably does it every day to take care of the flowers that his mom laid. But also the scenes about, like, all the times in the past with his parents were also really sweet and kind, showing how kind his parents were. It really shows how unfortunate and tragic it is that his parents are no longer living. It's just so sad that such kind, amazing, supportive people are dead now, you know?
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at, like, the photo albums, one of the places on the trip they were wanting to go to, because they knew he wouldn't be super interested, was they went to his favorite author's house and got to, like, tour the house the author lived in and where he wrote and all of this stuff. And so he's reading these things and realizing he was really just kind of being selfish by never going with them, and they were planning their trips around him because they wanted him to come.
That scene was so tough.
The
photo album.
I don't know that I would have been able to handle that well. I think I would have. I mean, he cried about it. He realized he'd kind of messed up.
If I was there in that situation, I would have probably teared up so hard too.
Yeah,
probably even harder than he did. You know.
Yeah.
And it was sweet because Haru came and he licked him, licked his cheek, like, "Hey, it's okay. Don't worry about it." What I didn't like though was, like, the spirits, just like the spirits of his parents being there randomly. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was an episode where Haru was just being weird, and you find out she's being weird because she sees the spirits of his parents and thinks they're, like, invaders she needs to scare away.
It was weird, but it's kind of cool. But the parents are like, "Hey, he doesn't need us watching over him anymore. He has somebody else now." So they go on.
That was the one thing I liked about it was they realized the cat had his back, and so it's like, okay, well, we don't need to be here now. We can finally rest easy. That cat's looking out for him. But yeah, I think it would have almost been better though. I mean, like, I get the point with the cat, but I feel like that almost would have been better too if that happened, like, either the night that Hiroto and Kawase and all of Hiroto's family was there, or even the night after they like find the cat, and they can see like you see how they've actually become these really great friends if they were like in the background and kind of had that happen then. But I understand why they did it with the cat when they
Would have been
did.
nice if his parents. Would have been nice if his parents were alive with Haru there. Would have been so
Yeah.
nice. Unfortunately, it's not to be.
Not to
It's
be.
not to be.
But that
All right,
should
I guess we can move into our recommendations and our ratings. Mr.
Indeed.
Falcon, would
Yes.
you? What?
What?
Oh, I thought you said yes to the recommendation question before I even asked it. I'll start again. Mr. Falcon, would you recommend this anime to a new person or a veteran weeb?
Yeah, I would recommend it. I feel like really anybody could enjoy the show. It's not out there enough to scare off new people. But I feel like it's still solid enough to where if you've watched a lot of anime that you are in fact going to still enjoy it. At least if you like character-driven stories, if you like more action-based stories, no. Like this, there's not a ton of action that happens in this. Besides just character growth and interaction.
No fights at all. No fights.
No fights, which I mean, most slice of lives don't always have fights besides maybe someone getting kicked because they said something stupid. Yeah, if you like this kind of genre, if you like character stories, this is a very solid one. I don't feel it's anything groundbreaking or like a must watch, but I feel like if you're a fan of the genre or somebody, like I said, who's maybe newer, but just likes good character written stories, this is definitely one to check out. As far as an actual rating, I think I'd give it I'll give it a 7. I think a solid
Giving
7
it a
is where
whole
it lies.
7.
Indeed. What about you, Condor? Would you recommend this anime? And if so, what would you rate it?
Absolutely. No questions asked. I feel like any person, be it a new person coming into anime or someone who's just looking for a new anime to watch, My Roommate is a Cat is definitely an anime I would recommend to anybody. I'm going to go outside and be like, hey, everybody watch My Roommate is a Cat on Funimation. It's dubbed. I'm totally going to do that right now. No, I'm not. But,
Indeed.
But it's good. It's wholesome. It has really good energy. It's not amazing, obviously. It's not like ReZero or anything amazing but it's great and wholesome. It gets the message across. It's the growth of two people, two animals, two creatures as they grow to become better people with the help of other characters around. It's really cool. I love it so much. I'm glad I recommended it for us to watch. I'm sure you are too.
Oh, indeed. I loved it. I think I watched most of it in a day. I was just like, okay, let's keep going.
Let's just keep going. I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. I'm going to give it, I wanted to say 8, but I feel like that'd be too much. So I'm going to say 7.5.
Yeah, that was mine. I was like,
I'm going to give it a 7.5. It's a must watch. High recommend. It's only 12 episodes too, so you could probably bang it out in a day, 3 or 4 hours. Honestly.
I mean, I think I watched the first 8 episodes that first day, and I was like, I can keep going. But then I was like, I should probably split it up into 2 days so I don't forget everything.
Falcon, what did you do?
Yeah. Oh, no, I live at a busy intersection, so I hear sirens all the time.
What did you do?
I mean, I watched anime. Hopefully that wasn't illegal.
How dare you?
I know, right?
I watched it illegally.
Man, I didn't. I watched it on Crunchyroll. I pay for premium, which gets me annoyed that the app keeps logging me out every dang time. Like, let your app keep me logged in. I have a long email address, okay? Gosh.
It's especially when I watch it on my TV.
You have to go. It's like, come on, really? Like,
well, with that being said, that is our review of My Roommate is a Cat. Thank you very much for listening. Falcon, would you like to let the beautiful audience know what we will be watching next time?
Of course. But before I get into that, make sure you know where you can find us. You can catch all of our podcasts, new and old, on most podcast services, but also online at birdbropod.podbean.com. That is the direct link to the feed. Have fun. We also are on Twitter at birdbropod as well. And I am on Twitch currently at twitch.tv/FinalFalconberry, but that name change may be soon. So keep tuned if you want to keep up to date on that, or just follow now and you don't got to worry about it. You'll be notified when that happens. But anyway, next week's topic, we are talking about one of my personal favorites that I really like. It is in my top 3 of anime rankings, and it recently got put on Netflix with a dub, which I had been asking for years. So I am hyped to watch it. And that means we will be watching the first season of Kuroko's Basketball.
Whoa!
Now dubbed on Netflix.
That's on the banner.
It's on the banner. Yeah, we had it in any of our banner shows.
Our first
Like, we
anime.
gotta do one of our banner shows. The banner, if you all check out our YouTube or our Twitter, we've got a character from each of our favorite animes on there. You can argue if Ruby is an anime or not.
Ruby's anime, thank you.
Anime themed show, at least. But yeah, so I figured let's go on and get one done, you know?
Ruby is just as much as an anime as Cory in the House, okay? Leave me alone.
I mean, yeah, we were gonna save all of those ideally for like milestone shows, but then we realized since there's only 2 of us, all the milestone numbers are on Condor's week. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go on and do Kuroko's Basketball. I want to watch the dub of it. Let's do it.
Oh, guys, I tried to convince Falcon to put Cory in the House in the banner, but he wouldn't listen to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't listen. I was like, Cory in the House? No.
Well, anyway, that is our podcast. Tune in next week for Kuroko's Basketball Season 1. And just to let you guys know, we will both be watching a dub since they just released the dub on Netflix. So
yes, but we also both have seen it subbed, so we can tell you which one we preferred.
I said it watched it years ago, so I don't remember.
I remember most of the voices, but
I watched
it's
it
one of my favorites.
It's been that long. Jeez. Oh my god.
Yeah, it came out for me when I first started college, which was like 2009, 2010, I think. Yeah. Anyway, we'll be watching that next week. We hope you guys have enjoyed My Roommate is a Cat. Hopefully you will check it out yourself, or you have already watched it and you agree with us that it's pretty awesome. So hopefully you all will tune in next week for Kuroko's Basketball, and we will see you all next time.
Goodbye.